During the 1930s, the nation's heartland was ravaged by a series of killer storms called black blizzards. Rolling mountains of soil turned day into night and changed 100 million acres of fertile farmland into an empty desert. How did this happen? Most people assume this decade-long phenomenon was a natural disaster, the result of prolonged drought and high winds. But in fact, the catastrophe that changed the face of America, known as the Dust Bowl, was caused by man. On May 9th, 1934, a giant storm rose up out of the Great Plains. There had been dozens since 1931. But this one was different. A menacing wall of soil and dust began its march east across the land, gathering strength with every mile.
The dust was thick enough to blot out the sun.
The formations merged into a towering wall more than 10,000 feet high.
It just seemed to reach from horizon to horizon and almost to the sky.
The suffocating clouds barreled across the Midwest. 350 million tons of dirt on the move. Enough topsoil to fill enough dump trucks to circle the planet twice.
When these dust storms happen, the dust can get lifted up into the atmosphere to where the winds are very strong. They transport the dust all the way across the continent and even as far out as the Atlantic Ocean.
By nightfall, the storm reached Chicago. An estimated 12 million pounds of soil rained down on the city. 4 pounds for every citizen.
They called these things black blizzards for a reason. It was a blizzard of dirt.
People were in shock. 2 days later, on the morning of May 11th, the skies over New York went dark.
The New York Times had a big headline, "Storm dims city for 5 hours, dust settled like a fine drift of snow on Midtown Manhattan."
Nobody on the East Coast believed or understood what a dust storm was until that major event.
This was the first black blizzard to reach the East Coast, a powerful storm that traveled 1,500 miles across the country. It reached Boston 2 hours after New York. By the end, soil from the Plains states landed in the Atlantic Ocean.
Even ships out to sea woke up the next morning and they found a 1/4 inch of soil on the deck.
And so that got everybody's attention. That told the United States that they had a problem and it was coming from its midsection.
What people were witnessing would become one of the greatest environmental disasters in U.S. history. One that would turn parts of Colorado, Kansas, Oklahoma, Texas, and New Mexico into a kind of hell on earth called the Dust Bowl. As it turns out, this major catastrophe could have been prevented. This is the story of how the Dust Bowl happened. Not from one of the regular drought cycles that have always plagued the Plain States, but from a series of decisions made since the 1860s that resulted in a decade-long disaster. We'll investigate how dust storms actually created their own weather system, which prolonged the drought. The cycle of horrors included temperatures routinely above 100 degrees, winds as high as 100 miles per hour, plagues of animals and insects, static electricity strong enough to knock a man down, disease, and death. The effects of this disaster would have epic consequences for the people, the land, and the country as a whole.